Right, good morning everyone. And for this moment, we'll be dealing with the following statistical tools or statistics used for gathering data in analytical methods or simply in analytical chemistry. So, when dealing with statistics, okay, we usually have uh, the two types of statistics. We have descriptive statistics and we have the inferential. So when you talk about descriptive, it includes the frequency distribution, the measures of central tendency, and the measures of central location, the dispersion or variation, the graphs, skewness, and kurtosis. Likewise, it also refers, or we'd say descriptive statistics also refers to some techniques which are concerned with the presentation and collection of data or information. On the other hand, we have your so-called inferential statistics, which is a technique used for decisions and conclusion making, which are to be made from the population observed using only the representative samples. So this statistics includes both parametric and non-parametric tests, which are more concerned with the generalizing information or making inference about the population through the representative sample. In statistics, moreover, uh, statistics is defined as the art and science of collecting, presenting, analyzing, and interpreting data. These data may be in sports, business, politics, education, and practically all fields of human endeavor dealing with statistics. And that also includes chemistry, and most importantly, in analytical, because mostly in analytical chemistry will be dealing with numbers and how we interpret those data. So in dealing with data, okay, so when you talk about data can be classified into two types. It can be continuous or discrete data. So when you talk about continuous data, these are measures like basic units such as feet, pounds, kilograms, minutes, and meters. These kinds of data can be made into measurement of varying degrees of precision, which, for example, we can have 1 yard equivalent to 3 feet or 1 foot equivalent to 12 inches. Those are examples of what we call a continuous data. When you talk about discrete naman, we call it discrete or discontinuous measurement wherein they are expressed in whole units. For example, we have counting of people, the number of objects, number of cars passing by, number of houses, number of students, workers, and so on. In dealing with data, we usually have scales. Okay, we have types of scales which are uh, which are usually used in the sciences. We have the nominal, the ordinal, the interval, and the ratio scales. We talk about the nominal data. Nominal data. So these are used as measures of identity. For example, we have males or females, the yes no answer, the religion, and many more. Okay? We talk about ordinal naman. Ordinal scale is used in measurement like a ranking of individuals. For example, is the agreement, the perception. We have here, for example, we have strongly agree, harder, softer, larger, smaller objects. Use rank. We use them as ordinal scales. For example, here is your Likert scale. The next type of scale is what we call your interval. So interval scales are numbers that reflect differences among items. For example, test scores, grades of students, age, blood pressure, or even the Fahrenheit and Celsius, as well as Kelvin scales. Last type of scale we have is the ratio. The ratio is the highest type of scale and is the basic difference between the interval and ratio. Ratio scale is that ratio scale are the measures of length, weight, loudness, with, and so on and so forth. So, para siyang similar with your continuous data. So, sorry, similar to your, so here, those are the four types: the nominal, the ordinal scale, the interval, and the ratio. So in terms of scales, when we talk about data, we have continuous and discrete forms of data, which are all within statistics, which are further divided either as descriptive and inferential statistics. For this video, we'll start with our descriptive statistics. We have mean, median, and mode. Basically, in dealing with statistics, we have two types of data. Again, continuous and discrete. And again, they are further subdivided either as grouped or ungrouped data. For this time, we will be dealing with the mean, median, and mode for ungrouped data. Similar with your average deviation, sample variance, and standard deviation. Since most data that are gathered in analytical chemistry and analytical methods are mostly ungrouped data. So start with your mean. Okay, so we talk about mean or sample mean. It is a set of data taken from the average or mean of the sample, added together, then divided by the sample size. So in equation, mean is bar x is equivalent to sum of your x over n, where where the bar mean is your sample mean, bar x is your sample mean, and then you have here your summation symbol. Sum of your x is what we call the sum of the sample observation over n, which is designated by the small letter n is your sample size. For example, we have an ungrouped data. Here we have 9 children in a slum area of the age of 9 children. So you have 9, 8, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have here an ungrouped data consisting of the age, example, po ito, sample here is the age of 9 children in an area. So you have 9, 8, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. So how do we get the mean? So we'll be using the equation here. All you have to do is get the sum of your x, which is a summation of all your ungrouped data here. So we have 9 plus 8 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 2 plus is equivalent to 45. Then you will get your n, which is a sample size. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you'll have an n of 9. So we have here now your data. All you have to do is carry these numbers to the designated equation. The mean is equals to the summation of your x over n. So we have here the summation of your x, which is 45, over your n, which is 9. So therefore, 45 divided by 9, you will have a mean of 5. This one now is your average or the mean. So that is how we get your sample mean or the average. All you have to do is add your numbers or your data. You have the sum of your x, and then you will determine the number of your samples. You have here 9, for example. And then after you have taken all these numbers into account, you're going to replace it into your equation. So you have 45 divided by n. 45 divided by 9 is equivalent to 5. 5 now is your average or your mean of your data. So here, based on our example, the average age of the children in the area is 5 years old. So here is your mean. Next, we'll be dealing with your what we call your median. So what is a median? The median is the value found at the middle when the data are arranged in an array from the highest or to the lowest, or from the lowest to the highest, or vice versa, you may call it. So if there are two middle values, the average is taken. Okay, so basically, in the median, you will be looking into the odd or even numbers of your data. Say for example, our last here example. Before you get the median, all you have to do is arrange your data from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. So we arrange this from highest to lowest, whichever you like. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now all you have to do is get the middle point value from your arranged data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our midpoint. So your median now is 5. Yan. Simple as that. For an odd numbered data. So you can see you have here 9 sample size. Now what if we have an even numbered data? Say for example we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have here two numbers as your median. No, all you have to do for two middle values is to get the average. All you have to do is add those numbers. 6 plus 5 equals to 11, and then divide your sum by those two middle values. Divide by 2. So you will arrive at 5.5. This one now is your median. There's a difference between an even numbered data and an odd numbered data for determining the median. Okay, let's continue. So this time, we'll be dealing with your mode. Mode naman tayo. So si mode, so what is a mode? The mode is the value here. Mode is the value which occurs most often or with the greatest frequency. For example, we have here, if we have here 10, 9, 9, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Here. So in the mode, again, let us reiterate the definition for the mode. The mode is a value which occurs most often or with greatest frequency. So basically, all you have to do is look for the number that has the greatest number or the greatest occurring number here. So we have here 10, 1, 9 is, you have two nines, we have 1 7, we have 1 6, we have 1 5, we have 1 3, we have 1 2, and we have 1 1. So in the data here, the most occurring number was 9 containing 2, even though we have more data here having 1 only. So here, since your 9 occurred twice on the data, your mode is now 9. That's how we get your mode for an ungrouped data. Again, for example, our example is 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 1, 2. So we have here 4s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 fours, 3, 2, and 1. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 threes. We have 2 ones, and we have 1, 2. So 4 is the most occurring number, occurred 4 times on the data. Therefore, your mode is 4. Based on our second example. That is how we get the mode. Now, you may be asking, what if there are 2 modes on your data? So, that data is called a bimodal data. Ibig sabihin, there are 2 modes occurring on one data alone. So, that is a bimodal. And what we do is often we get the lowest mode on those 2 on the bimodal data. However, for a more explicit or defined data, we usually use the 2 values for taking out the mode. That is our mean. Again, so here our mean. Mean is the average. Okay, mean is the average on the day of all the data here. The median is the midpoint of your data. It depends upon the number of data or sample size, odd or even numbered. So if you have an odd numbered sample size, you're going to get the middle point or the midpoint. And if you have an even numbered data, so all you have to do again for the median is to add the 2 midpoint numbers and then divide it by 2. That's how you get the median. And for the mode again is the value which occurs often or with greatest frequency. That is how we have your that is how we get your mean, median, and mode. So going back again, the mean, median, and mode are measures of your central tendency. Okay, so these are measures indicating the center of a set of data arranged in an increasing or decreasing magnitude, and is called your measures of central tendency. So these measures are mean, median, and mode. So next up is what we call your average deviation. So this average deviation, sample variance, and standard deviation are now called measures of dispersion or variation. They are not similar with these 3 because mean, median, and mode are measures of central tendency, whereas here are measures of dispersion or variation of your data. So first on the list here is what we call your average deviation or your AD. Your average deviation is a measure of variation that takes into consideration the deviations of the individual scores from the mean and has the formula sum of your x minus the mean over n. So where this equation is for average deviation, where AD stands for the average deviation itself. The sum of your mean minus the x is equivalent to the sum of the absolute value of x minus your mean. And n again here is your sample size. For example, we have here sample number 1. We have here test scores of students in spelling. Sample only. We have your x. We have 11, 8, 12, 7, 5, 3, 4, 15, 9, and 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 students. These are their scores. Then, all you have to do is get the sum of your x, that is 11 plus 8 plus 12 plus 7 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 15 plus 9 plus 6, that is equivalent to around 80. And then all you have to do is get the mean. So how do you get the mean? So you have here 10. Again, 10 sets of data. You have your n is equals to 10. So all you have to do is divide 80 by 10. So your mean is equals to 8. So again, so you have taken your mean. That is how you get to observe here. 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Meaning here, you're going to subtract based on our equation here, x minus the mean. So you're going to subtract 8, your mean for this data, to our absolute values here. So that becomes the x minus the mean. All you have to do now is subtract. 11 minus 8 is 3. 8 minus 8 is 0. 12 minus 8 is 4. 7 minus 8 is negative 1. 5 minus 8 is negative 3. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Then we also have negative 4. We have 7. We have 1. And we have negative 2. After that, you simply add those numbers. 3, 4, 1, 3, 5, 4, 7, 1, and 2. So you'll arrive at around 30. This is now the mean, sorry, x minus the mean. The sum of your x minus the mean. Let's check. If it's 30. 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 7 is 10 plus 4 14 plus 5 19 plus 3 22 plus 1 23 plus 4 is 27 and 3 is 30. Again, you're going to disregard the negative signs. Simply add your numbers. So you have your 30. After you have taken all the numbers into account, here now you're going to use these numbers here and here to the equation. So we have your AD is equivalent to the sum of your x minus the mean, that is 30. So we have 30 divided by the n, which is 10 here. So that is 10. So we have here 30 divided by 10. Therefore, your AD is 3.0, or simply 3. That is how you get your average deviation. Therefore, individual data here has an average dispersion or variation between itself of 3.0. That is how you get your average deviation. Next up is what we call your sample variance. Okay, sample variance. Hey, so the formula for sample variance for an ungrouped data is S squared equivalent to the sum of your x minus mean squared over n minus 1. This is your sample variance. So in sample variance, we have your S squared equivalent to the sample variance. The mean of your x minus mean squared is the sum of squares of x minus the mean. Sum of squares of your x minus the mean over n is the sample size minus 1. This equation is again your sample variance. Example. We go again to our last example here. So this one is for your again average deviation. Then we'll have another set of data here for your sample variance. All you have to do is again x minus the mean. X minus the mean. So we have here again 3, 0, 4, minus 1, minus 3, minus 5, minus 4, 7, 1, and minus 2. Again, the sum of this x minus the mean is equivalent to 30. Then all you have to do now to get your sample variance is to square your data. Sum of x minus the mean squared. Since we have here our equation, sum of your x minus the mean squared. So all you have to do now is square here. So we square your x minus the mean data. So we have 3 times 3 is 9, 0. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. You have here 9, 25, 16. 7 times 7 is 49. 1 and 4. Take note, the squares eliminated the negative sign. So all you have to do again on this data is to get the sum of your x minus the mean squared. So all you have to do is add here, add all the data here, and you will arrive at around 130. Yeah. So we simply add here, and then after you have taken your squares of your sum of your x minus the mean, we simply have to use the equation. So here we have the sum of your x minus the mean squared is 130 based on our computed value here. Then you simply get n minus 1, which is 10 minus 1. So we have 130 over 9. So your sample variance is equivalent to 14.44. That is how you get your sample variance. So last on the list is what we call your standard deviation. Standard deviation. Deviation. Or your SD. SD is sample standard deviation is the square root of the sample variance and has the following formula. So since your standard deviation is the square root of your sample variance, meaning we're going to square this equation. So to get your standard deviation, you can use either of the following equation. SD is equivalent to the square root of your sample variance, or you can have SD is equivalent to the square root of your sum of x minus the mean squared over n minus 1. And take note that the square rooting of your sample variance is what we call your standard deviation. So all you have to do now is again use the data from your sample variance. So we have here s squared, we have your SD equivalent to 14.44. Square root of 14.44. Simply use the data for the sample variance. So the standard deviation is equivalent to 3.8. This is now your standard deviation. If you want to check if that's correct, your equation is correct for the first equation, you can use the squared data here. You have your SD is equivalent to the square root of your sum of your x minus the mean squared, that is 130, over n minus 1, which is 10 minus 1. So we have here square root of your 130 over 9. So simply stating, we have the square root again of 14.44. So the standard deviation is square root of 3.44, that is 3.8. So take note that they are similar. So that is how we get your standard deviation. So I hope you have learned a thing or two based on our examples and definitions of your statistics for repeating measurements. We have the mean, median, and mode for measures of central tendency, and then we have the average deviation, sample variance, and standard deviation for measures of dispersion or variation. Thank you for watching.